Thinking about an ultra-wide monitor for your flight simulator? Maybe you should watch this before you drop the money and buy one, because a regular TV might actually be the better purchase. Welcome back to the Sim Project. In the last video, part one of the Garmin G1000 build-up. Unfortunately, life has been really busy right now. I haven't had a chance to do a whole lot with that. We are only about 6 weeks away from Christmas break. I plan to take the break, finish the G1000, update the panel with a bit of a panel here, like an actual, like a GA panel, start a second G1000, and work on Garmin Autopilot as well. But today we're not going to talk about that. Today we're going to talk about monitors. As you can see, I've got a really nice MSI ultra-wide 34-inch 2K monitor. And I've been watching a lot of videos online trying to understand the setup I'm going to need going forward for, you know, the big sim when I build it downstairs, and even trying to improve what I've got in here. I'd like a little more monitor. I'm kind of tight for space in this room until I can get downstairs. And I got looking at, what about a TV? What about going to like a 40 or a lot of people, you know, 55 4K they say is like the premium spot to be. But what I've discovered in my research, and I'm going to give Russ Barlow credit for a lot of this. I think that's who he is. I'm going to link his channel down in the description. He's got 25,000 odd subscribers. His videos have got 70,000 plus views. All the comments seem to be really positive. He makes a lot of sense. A very smart guy. The math and stuff he gets into for calculating these things is way back in like high school trigonometry and stuff. You know, stuff like, you know, for a lot of us, like myself personally, it's like 30 plus years ago now, right? So I found a couple easier websites to do all the math and information he's talking about, and that's what I'm going to show you in this video. So the first thing we need to start with, I'll overlay this. Let me get the camera down here somewhere where I can talk and run my keyboard. So this is default view in the ultra-wide. As you can see, you know, I can see both G1000s. We're in the default Beach 36 here. And it really seems like we're sitting a long ways back, because actually if you look straight down, we're pretty much, our eye point is like right, you know, right at the back of the seat, which would be kind of where our spine is. So clearly we're too far back. Now, in my research, I found a really great chart online in the Microsoft Flight Simulator forum, and it gives you zoom levels and stuff of what you should be looking at. And according to what Ross has said on his website, or on his YouTube channel, your optimal field of view is 45 degrees if you're doing a single monitor. If you're doing triple monitors, it's 60 degrees, and I'll get into that in a second why. But why 45 degrees? Well, 45 degrees, if you put blinders on each side of your head like this so you can't see anything out of your peripheral vision, your view is 45, you have a 45 degree field of view off center each way. Now, saying that, because you've only got one monitor, in reality, you're only seeing, you have no peripheral vision with a single monitor. So the optimal field of view on a single monitor is 45 degrees. That takes away your, you know, because there's no peripheral view, it immerses you the best possible way, makes things look like they're not stretching. Because if you can look here, see, we're sitting on the ground here at St. Martin, and you can see like the runway numbers, like we're just back of the end of the runway, and you can just barely see runway 10 out there in the distance. The terminal's way over there, and if you look, when I kind of look off my one shoulder like that, you see this terminal building looks really close, and this one looks way far away. And in reality, they're not. Those two buildings are relatively close together. So looking at the chart on the Microsoft Flight Simulator forum, 45 degree field of view is 86% zoom. So let's go in and we'll do that right now. So we'll go to our general options. And like I say, this is the default view. I've never flown at the default 50% zoom because, yeah, you can see there's just way too much going on. You can't read anything. So under camera, we go to our zoom level and see it's 50. That's what I've just changed it for this video. I normally had it about 65, 70, but it's saying 86% field of, or 86% zoom level. So apply and save that, and go back, resume, Okay, now we're looking straight. Look how much closer we are. So the G1000s are right there, right in front of our face where they're supposed to be. The yoke seems more realistic, and when we look straight down, we're kind of looking more so to the middle of the seat, which would make sense. If you sit back in your chair and you look down, you're seeing the middle of your seat. You're not seeing behind your spine. So that puts us there, and we look out the windows. See, that terminal looks much, you see those two terminals now, that they look much closer together. They're not stretched. That terminal in the distance, it doesn't appear stretched anymore. It's more realistic looking, and everything looks better. And even if we look forward now, you can see the runway 10, like this white line at the end of the runway really hasn't moved its position much. It just disappears behind the cowl or behind the nose. But runway 10, the 10 number is much closer to us and more focused. And in reality, that distance didn't change. We just fixed our field of view. So now that looks good. We're good here. I will admit, I'll load up some of the other aircraft and I'll just do a screenshot here. The default Beach 36 looks great. I tried this a couple days ago in the Aerosoft Dash 6. Phenomenal aircraft. Love that aircraft. It's probably the aircraft I got the most amount of time in all my years of flight sim. It does, however, at the view of 45-degree field of view, it does feel like the edge of the glare shield is like right about here. You got to look down and kind of do this to see the instrumentation. I'm not sure what that is. Maybe there's some settings in the aircraft. I haven't tried anything like the 7.3 yet, the PMDG, but we'll pull that up right now and I'll take a couple screenshots and we'll see what that looks like. Okay, here we are in the 737 PMDG. It started up with the engines running, so we've kind of drifted forward a little bit on the runway. I'm not going to try and use the slew and backup because, like I said, you know, the slew really throws it off. But yeah, so 40-degree field of view. It's looking out the side window. PMDG's new EFB. I haven't even played with this yet. Actually, this is the first time I've installed first time I've run the aircraft since that update. Like I said, life's been busy. Haven't had a chance to do a whole lot of that. Of course, the aircraft come up, and even though it was running by default, I must have the default cold and dark set. So yeah, so looking out the front window, our vision looks a little low by default. You know, our eyes look a little low. I've never been in a real 737 cockpit. I have flown a couple simulators though, some really nice ones. Non-moving, of course, but they are they're built by Flight Deck Solutions out of Toronto. I'm sure you've seen it. There's a couple of guys that have some YouTube and Facebook pages around the 7.3, and they've bought it. There's from Flight Deck Solutions, phenomenal stuff. There's one in Toronto, myself and a bunch of my VA pilot buddies have rented. I'll link one of those videos here. It's actually on my other channel, Adventures on Tour. I'll put that in the description. Check that out. That's our travel and lifestyle vlog. Getting ready to head off to the Panama Canal here very shortly on a cruise. So if you're into that kind of stuff, definitely check the link in the description. And like I said, I'll link that video over here above my head. You can check out that 737 stuff in the sim. But as you can see, the eye point is kind of on point. Maybe it does feel like we're a little close at 45 degrees, I'm not sure. But you know, things look nice. So look out, and the runway numbers don't seem to be stretched. You know, there's that one terminal. We've lost the other one behind the A-pillar right there. But things look right, but when you do look out this side, you know, it looks like you're sitting properly away from your co-pilot buddy over there. If we go back to center view and look straight down, we're looking straight down on the yoke. And as you can see, basically like right on top of our knees, and that would be kind of what you're doing. If you're sitting in the aircraft, you know, with the yoke out in front of you, you look down, put your head down like that, and you're gonna see basically your knees in the edge of the seat. And that's kind of what we're seeing. So that gives us the view is good. Now here comes the whole premise behind this video. As you can see what I'm looking at, I've got a beautiful 45-ish degree field of view this way, but the ultra-wide monitor crunches it. And that's why I'm going to put a 40-inch TV on here, because I'll show you the math from a site I found. The 40-inch TV is pretty much the same width as a 34-inch ultra-wide. Resolution, of course, is different. Your TV is 16:9, or not resolution, sorry, aspect ratio. TV is 16:9 aspect ratio, and ultra-wide monitor is 21:9. So 34-inch ultra-wide to 40-inch TV only adds a little bit. It gives you like an extra inch or something this way, nothing major. I think the math I did, it would increase my field of view by about 2% on the X-plane. Up and down, however, going from a 34 ultra-wide to a 40 TV, that difference between 21.9 and 16.9, you gain almost 50% more vertical viewing space. And again, I'll show you the numbers, how I come up with all this. Right now I've got about a 19-degree field of view on the vertical plane. Going to the 40-inch TV is going to take that to just over 27 degrees field of view. So that's almost 50%. It's like 40-ish and change percent more view up above. So I'm going to go over to the other computer. We'll show you how I come up with those numbers, and then we're going to swap this monitor out, put the 40-inch TV in. Now, of course, this ultra-wide, of course, this is 2K ultra-wide. The TV is only 1080. For the most part, the sim, we're not going to notice it. And to be truthful, it was a TV we had here in the house. It's my daughter's upstairs out of her bedroom. She hasn't been using it. So yeah, I'm going to put it on a try. If it works, then I will go look at a 40-inch 4K, because truthfully, like a 40-inch 4K TV is like $250 nowadays. They're a dime a dozen. They're cheap. I'm also going to explain why we're only using a 40-inch TV and not something bigger like a 55 or even do a 60. So we'll bounce it over to the other computer and we'll check that out. Okay, so we moved over to the other computer, and hopefully the glare and the light isn't causing too much of a glare off my bald spot. Unfortunately, this light is not, or this room is not super conducive for a recording studio. Got a nice big window that's, of course, south facing, and it's around noon and it's bright and sunny out today. It is cold. It's like -6 outside. So yeah, that's why I'm in here and not out there. Anyways, we're over at the other computer. As you can see, on the Flight Simulator forum here, and this is the guide for field of view. And we're going to scroll down, and here's the numbers right here for your percentages. Like I said, we wanted a 45-degree field of view, and 46 is 85 and 41 is 90. So of course, 86 would be that 1 point difference to give us our 45. Now the other thing we want to look at, now let's get into our field of view. So I've already set this up. It does look like it's for a race car simulator. It still works for the airplane, because, you know, race car airplane, you're still sitting in the same point. You're still looking out a dash, looking out and trying to limit your field of view to eliminate your peripheral vision. So based on the numbers here, now the big one you have to know here is your distance to the screen, and that was one thing Ross had in his video. The problem with the math in his video, and why I'm doing this one, is because he was saying, here's how big your monitor is, here's how far away from your, you know, the TV you have to sit. Well, let me show you the sim here again quick. As you can see, I've got a chair on mine. It's got rails, and don't make fun of my slippers. They're, you know, for the feet on the Satec pedals. Those things are hard on your bare feet or your sock feet, so I got a, you know, pair. Hey, they are Airwalks though, right? Like, plus for that. Anyways, you can see everything's railed. It's all connected here. The monitor stand and everything comes right up on the back. So everything is connected. So when I sit here, you know, when I sit in my chair and I move the chair forward into the ergonomic position that works for me, the distance from my eyeball to the center of the screen is about 40 inches. So I have a fixed distance. So I can't take a monitor and then figure out how far away I need to be from it. I've got to figure out how big of a monitor I can go at this distance of 40 inches and maintain that 45-degree field of view. So let's go back over to the other computer here for a second, and I'll explain to you where all these this numbers comes into play. So back to our race car sim, which, as I say, is basically the same as what we need to do. So I've put it in. So my distance to the screen is 40 inches. We already know that. My screen size, that's a diagonal. It says that kind of hard to see, but it says this is a dimension, or diagonal dimension, which is our 34 inches, because that's what we've got as a 34 ultra wide. 21 by 9, and as you can see, so at 40 inches, like, truthfully, my optimal field of view would be 42.7 degrees horizontal. We're going to go 45 because that's what we want to see. And there's that vertical view. See, 19 degrees, and as you can see from, you know, where the head point in the race car is, which, like I say, would almost be pretty much the same location if we were looking at an aircraft. We're only 19-degree field of view. Now let's flip this around. So let's go to 16:9. Our distance screen is going to stay the same, but we're going to up this to 40 inches because that's the TV we have to work with. So we've gone to 47 degrees horizontal, which, you know what? That's getting better. That's a little 2 degrees, a little more. I mean, you know, that 40 inches is back in the seat proper, you know, the proper, you know, up straight the way, you know, your mom always told you need to sit. So of course that's, your head is going to move and bob a little bit. So that 47 is going to float into that perfect range to get 45. But look at our vertical. See, our vertical went from 19 to 27.5. So we went up 8.5 degrees. When we started at 19, 8.5 degrees, you know, 50% would be a 10-degree change. We're pretty close to that 50 degrees increased field of view on the vertical. So I'm going to grab my Amazon package here, because the other issue with my setup is the Versa mount for holding your monitors. It's 100 by 200. The TV is 200 by 200 millimeters, so I had to buy a mount to expand that to make everything fit. And I bought a hardware kit too with some bolts, some screws, some spacers, all that stuff to make it a nice clean setup. So I'm going to rip the system all apart and we'll see what the 40-inch TV looks like. And if you're curious what I'm going to do with my Ultrawide, that's not going to go away. It's not going to go in storage. What I'm going to do is over here on our secondary computer, where this is where I do all my video editing. It's the home office computer, and whoa, I can really see the sun glaring there off my forehead, or my 5 head. I'm going to put it here because, you know, this is what we're looking at right now. I'm showing you that through the lower feed. That's OBS on the second screen doing the screen record. We're going to get rid of these 2 screens, and we're going to put the Ultrawide here, which, you know, it just look better over here in the office computer. So stick around and I'll be right back. Okay, so I got the monitor set up, and before I show you it, I want to just cover one quick thing. I had to update the video driver to make some settings and to get the image to fit. As you can see, my icons are all good in there. And it's kind of hard to see if the taskbar is centered. I had to update the video driver, like I said, to get everything to come into the proper resolution and screen size. And I only had to upgrade it because the moment I tried to open the AMD control center, it says, oh, your driver's updated. You must update before downloading a new, or before making a modification. And it's like, oh, no, please. If I can say anything about flight sims in computers, never, ever, 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 ever update a driver if your system is working. That's the biggest mistake most people make. They put like their video, especially video drivers. The video drivers can be the worst. You put the video driver in, if it works, don't touch it. The worst thing you can do is leave your video driver set on auto updates, and it'll update, and all of a sudden your sim won't run. And why? And that's exactly what happened to me. I had to update it so I could adjust the bezel edge and things like that. And when I fired the sim back up, I never thought I jumped into one of my add-on aircraft at an add-on airport with a modified livery, and it crashed. Well, I actually didn't crash. It just hung on the, you know, after you get past the, you know, pick your airport screen, and when it went to load to the airport, it got about 60% through, and the taskbar just froze, and I can see the hard drive light stopped working. So abort that, go into the task manager, kill it, reset the computer, fire it back up, get the prompt for safe mode, and don't worry about it, I've never used a safe mode. You just kick past it and go. Then pick a basic airport with a default aircraft with no liveries, just like the basic generic MS livery, not even like their 40th anniversary edition or their Xbox edition, just the basic bare bones stock livery. Load up to a basic airport with limited scenery, load it, get it all working, turn the aircraft on and off, make sure everything's working good, and then shut everything back down through the proper sequence, reboot your computer, and that'll normally fix your issues. It actually goes back to the old FSX days where, you know, you did the same thing in FSX or even P3D sometimes. You know, you make a change like that, you gotta restart at a default setting in a default airport. So don't touch your drivers unless you absolutely need to. And like I said, it took me half hour, 45 minutes to get things back and running after I did the sim up or the software update. And yeah, it's annoying. So if your system's working, don't mess with it. So there we go, 40 inches setup. I'm not recording the screen off that one and overlaying this, of course, because you're going to see it in 1080, just recorded with OBS, which is exactly what the earlier stuff is. So there won't be any quality difference for you to see in the video, so there's really no sense showing it. I will spin the camera around here and let you look. As expected, of course, you know, there are, if we get that in a little closer, you can see it. There is a distinct lower quality, shall we say, in the imaging. You can see the anti-aliasing, or sorry, I didn't pronounce that right, but you know what I mean. The black bars floating because of the refresh rate on a TV is much lower than the monitor we had it on. The other thing to remember too with this TV is it's almost 10 years old actually. I'm gonna dig through, see if I can find some pictures. I built a home sim about 10 years ago in a couple houses ago that had two 40-inch monitors out front. It had a pretty basic shell. I had a couple screens across the center for you know, your instrument panel. Had my throttle quadrant, all this stuff. I had a touch screen, and actually it's that touch screen right there. That's a touch, you know, you can do all kinds of stuff with that as a touch screen. It's really nice to have. That was the overhead panel for doing all that stuff. But then we moved, we ended up stuck in a condo. Yeah, that's a whole thing, part of life, you know. You just have to deal with that stuff sometimes. So I had to tear that down. Like I say, if I can find a picture of it, I don't know if I've got any of it or not. Like I say, it's 10 years ago. It's not on the phone. It's not on the cloud. None of that stuff. I'll take a look. But this TV is from that original sim build. So, you know, it's a 10-year-old 40-inch LED 1080 TV, right? Like, so of course the resolution can be a little. The MSI monitor I just took off, I've only had that 2.5 years, maybe 3 years tops when I bought it. So, and just to show you that quick now, it's over there on the other computer. I have a feeling that's going to be so much nicer when it comes to video editing for using that. But yeah, I haven't flown anywhere yet. I can say less the resolution, you know, dropping a little bit. It looks really nice. I think I need to raise the TV physically a little higher. It does seem to be right below my my instruments just a little too much, maybe. I'm not sure. You know, if you want to see, you do have to drop your eyeballs a little bit to see the G1000s. But of course, once I get my panel built with the dual G1000s, we'll raise that up a little bit. And I think that'll put it really well, because that, like, the glare shield right there, like I say, I've got to move the whole monitor, because that glare shield to where you see that now, it should be probably almost here. And in the, when we reset the view, it's down here. So it needs to come up a little bit, probably like to here somewhere. So the whole TV's got to come up a couple inches. Not a big deal. There's lots of adjustment left down there on it. But yeah, like I said, 10-year-old TV, only 1080 when the monitor we took off was 2K. So I knew there was going to be a loss in quality, but I'm okay with that. I'm liking the looks of this. I'm going to fly tonight. We'll see how it looks. And if it's good, I'm going to look around, find a nice 4K 40-inch, and put that on here and give my daughter back her TV. But yeah. What can I say? I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you've learned something. I hope I haven't drugged this out too long. Subscribe to the channel, like the video. I'm never going to try and make money off this. I'm not going to start Patreon or anything like that. I mean, I think I'm at like 115 subscribers, something like that. To the 115 who did subscribe, awesome, I appreciate it. This will get bigger, and it could go really quick, or it could go really slow. Just depends on how life treats me. But anyways, yeah, hope you enjoyed this. Couple other videos on the channel, check it out. Like I say, fingers crossed, the G1000 will be done around Christmas. Check that video out, probably right around the new year. I hope to have that up. And until next time, blue skies.